homeboys, your homeboys be like, yeah, man, I remember he buried some money, yada yada yada. A lot of people think that you have stashed money somewhere underground.
What it do? Episode 2, Wyze Guyz.
Wise guys.
How we doing?
Fabulous to be here.
What we got?
I don't know why y'all put that in front of me,
The burritos.
knowing dang
Man.
well.
What kind of those there?
Man, grandma. Shout out to grandma. Shout out to my mom. She made some carne molida with some papas and some pico de gallo.
I
She
can't
grills
till
it.
tomorrow.
Wait, hold on. Translate what that is in English.
Oh yeah, it's ground meat with potatoes, and she stir fried pico de gallo with chile, jalapenos, onions, cilantro in it with some beans in it. It's like something so simple, but it's a delicacy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And now we just celebrating Angela's birthday.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you want to tell them?
32.
32.
32 in the game.
Hey, y'all making me feel old and what's going on?
Everybody be thinking that a lot of people that see us, they don't know who the dad is.
Yeah. Nah, they say, oh, that's your big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They think I look older than you.
Dang.
Yeah.
They say that
I need to
pinta
cut this
preserves you.
Huh?
They say that pinta preserves you. The prison.
Saw the peanut butter pancake sheet.
No, that's that food. That's that food they feed y'all.
You talking about
Remember you said what did the label say on the packet in the kitchen?
not for human consumption?
Crazy.
Wait, hold on.
It was the bacon, I think. What is it?
No, it was some chicken. Cause I do
Chicken.
HVAC. I do HVAC, so we gotta go.
FBOP, y'all tripping, giving those inmates.
So tell me what was on the package?
Said not for human consumption.
But y'all were still eating it.
Of course. Yeah. It's crazy.
So now y'all
It
have
is. Whoo, yeah.
See, it
Look at
preserved
them.
them though. Look, I mean,
Yeah.
the preservatives on it.
Was
preservatives. They got so much preservatives, it preserves you for real.
Well, I just had my son a week ago. And so
Congratulations,
son. And so
Sir.
shout out to my family. Little Samuelito, we call him. And so I'm blessed. And
Little
so
Sam.
I'm learning a lot, man, in parenting. I'm learning a lot, and it's a new thing for me because I have 2 kids now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it, and so about a few weeks ago, Dad, you invited me over for some dinner, and I was thinking about like, man, now it takes 15 minutes to go see you, whereas back then it took us when you were locked up 5 hours, 6-7 hours to go visit you, but now it just takes 15 minutes to go see you. So the question on my mind is like, man, you out now? How you feel? You been out for how long now?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. 2 years. 1 year off the home confinement. So this is actually my first year off home confinement. I'm still on federal probation, but yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
so he's out. That was a big turnaround for our lives when you got out. Which is crazy, man. Got out during COVID.
Yeah.
Crazy how that happened. Like,
Which was crazy because he called me that one time. And he always used to say when we were younger, "Hey, mijo, I'm getting out soon."
yeah. Yeah.
We just stopped believing it because you would say it.
Because he was trying to do appeals.
Yeah.
We had lawyers, some of the top lawyers in the nation.
Yeah.
Like, God blessed us with lawyers that were working on the case for free because, we didn't have no money.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that you have stashed money somewhere underground. And so it's even me back in the day in the streets, homeboys, your homeboys be like, yeah, man, I remember he buried some money, yada, yada, yada. And so people thinking that you got money and, stashed somewhere, but we didn't.
No.
Clear the smoke,
Everything's gone.
everything gone.
Yeah.
Mm.
But anyway,
yeah.
so going back to lawyers working on the case, and we would be like, Dad be like, yeah, we're coming home, and then it was like, man, we've been saying that about 20 times.
Yeah.
It's what we had hope though. We had some type of hope. We had to have some type of hope.
Yeah.
But when he told me that one time, I knew it was serious because you said, "Hey, the warden came in and I signed my papers," and I was like, "Oh, this is the real deal."
But you weren't even supposed to get out.
No.
So why?
No.
What happened?
Okay.
First of all, I want to shout out to Gene Bishop out of Chicago, lawyer, and Mark Osler.
Yeah.
He's a professor of law out of Baylor University. Now he's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Man, they were my top fans of helping me and in my story and our story to try to get me out.
And I remember he wrote an article in I think the DC paper
Yeah.
about you because he was working at the White House on some stuff.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
They were really trying to help me out, man. I'm very, grateful
Yeah.
for their hard work and commitment to try to get me out.
Yeah.
But all happened, man, so many appeals that we try to put in, and for so many years, me praying on it, and asking God, hey, to help you one day, so I can get a second chance at life, now that I think different, I talk different, my soul is different, but man, it's funny because would always, man, people would come into the church, me being a pastor, come in like, hey, bro, can you pray for my appeal papers? Yeah, man, we just sit down, lay hands on them and everything. Before you know it, 3 months later, hey, they done took 6 years away from me. It's like, man, that's great, man. Where am I at, Lord, in this prayer though? You know what I mean? It's like, man, and I'm constantly calling y'all, telling y'all, hey, man, new law came into effect. Man, I hope it can help me out. And
Somebody told me, hey, mijo, look up this law right here. And I'd be like, man, I don't know what he talking about.
Yeah.
We tried though,
Yeah.
team. We tried.
yeah, definitely.
Writing letters.
Writing letters and all kinds of stuff.
Somebody, yeah, Obama's going to read it.
Yeah. What's so crazy is because when Mark Osler put this petition in, was it 2014, 15, when Obama was giving clemencies out,
Yeah.
it went rapid all through the federal prisons. Like,
Yeah.
he's giving clemencies out.
Yeah.
We have a big chance. And man, Gene Bishop, she fixed up all my paperwork right and sent it off to Washington, D.C. Everybody was sending. I'm talking about everybody. If you had so much sentence and you've done so much of your time already, more than 10 years of your time, but it's more than 50% of your time, you can start doing clemencies.
Yeah.
And we had True Links, and we will come into True Links, which is the computer, and we'll come in and they will check to see your name.
Yeah.
And names were popping up left and right, like,
And you were discouraged because they didn't.
nah, they wasn't. My name wasn't even close.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you were discouraged because everybody was getting released and you didn't get,
Yeah, so I was thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. And then I remember coming to the computer, got off of work, came to the computer, looked into the computer, and then the first thing I didn't look at anybody's emails but that right there just to see if I was able to get out. And man, I remember you sent me the email saying, Dad, Gene sent me an email stating that they denied you.
Yeah. So we were constantly getting denied.
Constantly.
And then
getting
COVID hit. And then the day, what happened?
Well,
that day?
actually, I left from another prison and went to Seagoville. They moved me closer to my hometown, to Waco.
Yeah, the Dallas
And I was
area.
blessed. I was like, man, now we're an hour away. You know,
Before that, you were wanting to go to Minnesota, or you were thinking about going out of the state though, right?
No, to a drug program,
Mm-hmm.
to a certain drug program, but they won't let
To
me
cut
because
time off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And actually, just to go there first and then closer, because after you finish that program, they were saying they could ship you a little bit closer to your hometown.
So the day of COVID, when COVID
Okay, so let
hit,
me go back. So COVID hit, and they were just locking everybody up, in their cells. And where I was at, I'd already hit camp. I already been to the big prisons. God bless me, and I worked myself all the way down.
so what do you mean work yourself way down? So you started in higher facilities, right?
Oh yeah, higher facilities.
So like Bloody Beaumont,
Leavenworth, USP.
Yeah,
all these
Leavenworth.
prisons, and work yourself.
And one Al Capone, that's a notorious prison, right?
Yeah,
Leavenworth?
there was all kinds of people at
Yeah.
at Leavenworth.
Yeah.
As soon as you go in, you'll never see civilization again.
Yeah.
It's the oldest penitentiary in the United States. They still got the railroad tracks where they used to bring the inmates in the railroad carts and the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go out there and
Wow.
you got on the pound, and you'll see the railroad tracks still there.
Yeah.
That's how old it is. I remember going into that prison, and the driver says, "Look around, you'll never see civilization again."
And that's
And
crazy.
it's in the middle of the city too.
And so
Kansas.
everybody around the United States with high cases go there.
Yeah, there's all
Okay.
kinds of cases there, and Army people who are in the Army too.
Okay.
Yeah, so we done went through all these prisons. Now I'm at the camp,
Yeah.
and they're closing all the camps down as far as you can't be around other people, but we're on a big old pod though, you know what I mean? Big old unit.
Yeah.
So after a while, I quit praying that God would help me in my cases. After a while, I just said, after 14 plus years, I was like, Lord, let your good will be done.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pray. I'm done tired of the appeals. I'm tired. I'm gonna finish my time out no matter
Yeah.
what. It doesn't matter. You know, I'm already past this far.
Yeah.
You know, I still had faith. I still
Yeah.
had hope. You know, and when I just said, God, I just give it over to you,
Yeah.
man. 15-year here mark, a little bit over 15 years, and they called me to the office. And it says COVID hit, and Trump is allowing people to go home. Of all people, I didn't think you're like.
So we're
man,
gonna get into
Trump?
that political
Man, hey.
because everybody thought Obama did something for the prison system.
Yeah.
So what do you your take? So Trump basically let you out.
When he signed the
you saying?
papers? Yeah. Yeah.
So
He signed papers and he allowed a lot of people from a lot of
and it was
prisons.
all over CNN that all these inmates were getting out if you did more than 10 years of your time, or closer to your end of your sentence, right?
Yeah, more than 65% of your time.
Okay.
And you
So
stayed
how
out
did
of
you-
trouble. You stayed out of trouble, and your record was clean, and you weren't, doing things you weren't supposed to. That you were eligible to be released.
So how did you feel when they said, sign your papers, you're going home?
I didn't believe it. I said, counselor said, "Here, do you want to go home? You know, you're gonna be on 2 years home confinement for rest of your remainder of your time." I was like, "Quit playing with me. Man, I've been doing a lot of time, man. I done seen all kinds of crazy stuff, man. I need to go back to work. I need to go do something else. Y'all playing with me."
Yeah.
It's like, we're being serious. You're eligible. Your name came up with a lot of other people here at this camp. Do you want to go home? Man, my heart just started beating hard because all these years, of hoping and praying that this will come, and it didn't come. And finally, when I just let loose and said, "Hey, God, it's whatever, man," and now it's here.
15, 16 years being locked up in the system.
Still had 2 more to go.
And it's like, man, that would feel. I can't even describe that feeling.
Oh no! I was
So
like,
you were scared. You were scared. Were you scared, or how were you feeling? Like
I didn't have
you
no
didn't believe it?
reactions. More like I just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it. It's like, nah. Now it's like, I'm being serious. Look, this is your name, right? He had to sit down and tell me, this is your name, this is your number, this is where you came out of, this is your case number. It's like, yeah. It says, do you want to go home? Just sign the papers. You're going to be on a home confinement or leg monitor for the rest of your remainder of your time. You can go to work and come back home.
So you got out, what, like 2 weeks after?
No, it took me 3 months.
3 months.
3
3
to 4
months.
So I had to get paperwork.
So how did you feel right when you walked out those doors?
I still didn't believe it until the day.
I remember.
I still didn't believe it.
When you walked out?
No, even to the day before, my name, basically there's a process in the prison system that you got to go do your fingerprints, they take DNA from you,
Okay.
all that, and none of that was happening for me.
Mm.
None of that is like, man, they going to play with me. Because remember, at the other camp, they done denied me at the last minute, especially with a furlough for Angelisa's quinceañera,
Yeah.
my daughter's graduation.
We drove 5 hours to Big Spring.
Because the
And
warden gave me a furlough.
the warden gave him a furlough to come out for a couple hours. What was it, like 20
It
hours or
was for
something?
my graduation.
Was it yours?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
graduated from community college.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
was him.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you drove 5 hours and whatever.
Drove 5 hours, and about 4 hours in, Dad called and said, "Hey man, turn around." I'm like, what? Yeah, turn around. Somebody stepped in and said I can't go. Bro, I drove anyway up to the Big Spring.
Yeah, it was a surprise for you because you didn't know.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah.
And we went to the hotel that night, and we were just like, this can't be. And I was with Angelisa, my sister, and we showed up the next morning. We pulled up, and nobody was coming out the front door. You know, the camp, there's no gate. So Annalise was like, man, just go around. I'm like, nah, man, you can't do that. She was like, nah, let's go. And I was like, man, you know, Annalise,
At least gonna be vocal.
yeah, she gonna be vocal. She gonna get in your face. So I drove around and we pulled up and there was inmates. And Dad was like, man, y'all gotta
I was
wait.
driving a Gator because I do HVAC. You
He
know,
was like, go, go, go.
driving a Gator, going around. I'm like, oh, what the heck?
And again, that's when the counselor came out like, yeah, nah, you can't be here. But I forgot what they
He was
said.
apologizing.
Yeah, apologizing. But yeah, that was that.
So many denials have been happening.
Denials, yeah.
Left and right,
Mhm.
denials after denial. So I looked at this as like the couple of days before when we supposed to have our DNA taken out of us and fingerprints and
Yeah.
pictures and all that.
So you walking out thinking like this still ain't true.
No, even to that morning when I woke up.
That's why you didn't want all the family to be in the parking lot. You wanted to drive to the store. Was that why?
Huh?
You know, because all the family didn't show up to the prison parking lot.
Yeah.
Is that why you told us to go to the store?
I'll meet everybody to stay at the
Yeah.
store just in case something was just, I didn't want to, you know.
So
So,
that is, I mean, so you really were thinking like, nah,
Yeah.
like, they gonna take me back
because
in.
even at the day before, they supposed to cut your phones off and they never cut my phone off. I was still calling everybody at nighttime.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, this ain't happening, man.
Yeah.
I had my stuff all packed up, and then there were like 5 other people who were leaving too.
So how long? So you were feeling like this ain't true. So even when because it was in Dallas, when we got to Waco, were you still thinking like that? Like they were gonna pick you up?
Oh yeah, There's like I
So
should be here.
so basically institutionalized.
That's what I was gonna
Oh
say.
yeah, institutionalized. You know, it wasn't until the morning that they finally called my name and report to the very front of the other prison.
Mhm.
The van shuttle picked us up and took us to the very front, and that's when they started taking all our DNAs, all our pictures, all that. And it's like that's when my heart's like, tom, 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 tom.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. It's like damn, I'm feeling about to see the family, about to see freedom. It's like I feel like at any moment a U.S. Marshal gonna come in and say, "No, you've been denied."
Yeah.
Because remember, and when Obama was giving me the clemencies, I found out through my lawyers that they did give me the clemencies,
Mm.
but the United States Attorney's Office in the Western District of Texas, they denied me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah.
They denied
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
They denied me from me getting out of prison when Obama had given me the clemency.
Yeah.
So when I heard about that, it's like, man, why?
Yeah.
You
So
know?
were you like just like tripping out? Cause we even went to the park after the store.
Yeah.
We went to a park. Remember we went to the park?
Oh yeah, to eat.
We went
Yeah.
to the park to go eat.
Yeah.
So you were like still spooked and you didn't even want to go to a restaurant.
Heck no.
So you institutionalized in a mug.
Oh, institution big time.
So how long were you institutionalized? Or
Like
do you
after?
or do you think you're still going through some of it? 3 years after being
After
released.
prison, like you're still right now. Do you still feel like you're still institutionalized?
Yeah.
It hit once in a blue moon, you know, I'll stay in my lane.
So,
Basically.
but like dealing with it real hard, you think it was about a year, 2 years?
Yeah.
So
Especially because I'm still, remember, I was on the monitor.
I remember you're like, hey, it's chow time. I'm like, what?
They told me I want to go eat chow. Like,
What?
man,
Now you did say something one
Yeah.
time.
What?
You're being for real. You're like, you said something, but it was like a prison term, like, and you're like, oh dang, this messed up, you know?
Yeah.
But
a lot of things still trigger you, you know, because you've been doing the same thing over for so many years.
Yeah.
It's just like one day after the next day, the
Yeah.
same thing.
It was your life.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, the activities, you know, everything. It was the same picture, just
Same
a different day.
routine.
Same routine every single day and trying to make the best of it. Yeah. So yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was still crazy because when I would be at home, they would call me at 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the
yeah.
morning.
And this is
And
this is
I
when
had
you
to answer that phone.
This is when you're on house arrest.
The house arrest.
And so you had to answer that phone. I remember that.
Yeah, you would run.
You would
Heck
run.
yeah, because if you don't answer that
You
phone,
had to you had to
The phone line, like
The phone
yeah,
line.
the phone line. So
Yeah,
you didn't
old
have
school
like
phone.
a cell phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to have that phone line. So
Yeah.
if you didn't answer that phone, that's like a strike on you. If you had so many strikes on you, they started.
Then you had to ask to even go to HEB, right?
Yeah, you get a 2-hour pass.
2-hour passes.
And then the job.
But it was way better than being
Oh
locked
heck
up.
yeah! Don't get me wrong.
But
But it was still in your mind is like, man, they can send me to prison anytime. You know what I mean?
and I
Oh,
think
remember we thought you were going back because remember they passed that law where they're like, oh, everybody that got out during COVID,
they weren't going. They were trying to talk about.
they were trying to send people back.
so. It goes back to politically you got set free
By Trump.
by Trump, but also you're not. I think we're not looking at the bigger picture because thankfully you came home to a family. You came home to some support.
That was a
But
big
think
deal.
about the other individuals who don't have that kind of support.
Do you think you would have made it without that support?
No.
Church support, family support.
Yeah.
You don't think you would have made it?
It's pretty hard because without that support, for example, y'all helped me a lot when it came to taking me places when I was at home, when I had groceries,
Job.
job. You know, if I didn't have a car or whatever, who was gonna?
So
take
you
me?
couldn't drive.
No, I could drive because luckily, I was blessed to get my driver license while I was in there.
Dang. So
A
if
lot
you
of people
didn't,
didn't get no driver
Yeah.
license, they had to go through the whole process out here. Who was going to take them? Who was going to give them a ride over there? Who was going?
so
they
do you
had to
think
get
the
a pass
system, so do you
to get it.
think the system fails people because there's so many rules when they get out that it
Oh, it's
can hinder
hard.
them?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like what?
Hey, just by you getting a driver license, you know what I mean? If you wait to get a driver license out here, you have to wait in line, that number. Hopefully they have a ride to take you if you're at the halfway house and so forth. So, and if you don't get a job by that time too as well, that counts against you too. If you can't get no job, then how are you going to be able to get a license or how are you going to be able to move around and do things? So it's pretty hard. You have
And
to
then
go
housing
through this.
too. You can't get
And
housing.
housing too. I couldn't get housing. I couldn't get a apartment for myself because of my background. And
Yeah.
that's what every background, every criminal, anybody who's been convicted, backgrounds come in. It's like no,
Yeah.
you know. Luckily, I had a sister, a daughter-in-law, your wife, the one that helped me find a place, you know, a
Yeah.
house, and
Yeah.
they had to tell the real estate companies like, look, you know, he's my father-in-law. We'll just give him a chance, you know what I mean? And they're like,
yeah.
we overlook that. But other than that, if you don't have those type of people or connections or whatever, I can't live with my mom the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have to live my own life.
And I remember, I graduated 2 years ago with my bachelor's degree, and I had to make a decision because I wanted you to go and see me graduate. You know, it was gonna be the first time you like interacted with me as a son, and to be able to go to school and you able to see your son do something, but you were still put in a position, and I was still put in a position where like, okay, you can go homeward, but you got to be put on a monitor, and it's like, man, I really don't want my dad to be out there in the community looking like a bad person because he got this monitor on. You know
Were
what
you
I'm saying?
embarrassed?
Well, yeah, I mean,
So you were
for him-
embarrassed of that?
for me and for him. You
No.
know what I mean? And it's like it's like, okay, we're still locked up even though you're free.
Yeah.
So you're not really free. We're still locked up. I'm still having to make these decisions, and I'm still having to think about you. Why can't I just go graduate? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, man, we're even though, yes, thankfully the politicians did what they did, but we're still locked up.
Yeah.
We're still locked up.
And so do you, as far as job wise, because there's a big misconception out there too that a lot of people think, well, you can't get a job because you have a record, and a lot of people use that as an excuse to go back to do what they used to do, right? But you gained some experience in the walls, behind prison walls, and you got a job how fast?
Within a week.
Within a week. Been gone 16 years. What was it? 15 and a half, 16, wouldn't get technical. Been gone over a decade, and you come out and within a week you got a job.
And then, Dad, you also like when you first got in there, you're like, I gotta learn something when you were locked up, right? And so this is the reason why you went into that trade.
But going back to people thinking that they use it as an excuse, like, we got records, we can't get no job. That's a lie. We want to keep it real. That's a lie. Because I think it goes back to people wanting to, you had a good job when you HVAC, right? It's a good job. But a lot of people, they don't want to settle for less. They don't want to go work at McDonald's or a hard construction job, right? But there's a lot of jobs that people can get. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that out there.
I mean, but you got to think about the dad that comes home and says, "Yeah, I could go get a McDonald's job, but I'm making $7.25." That's not really realistic, though. You can't provide for your family if you're making $7.25 an hour. So I think it goes back on the individual, but also it goes back from a governmental standpoint. Like, we got to do something to help out these inmates, because thankfully Dad did find a good wage job.
Yeah.
But there are also those individuals like, I can't go to McDonald's. I got 5 kids to feed.
Yeah.
That don't make sense. I got to do something. You know what I mean?
But it's something though.
It is something.
You got to start from the ground up.
It is something.
You got to start in the mud.
No, yeah.
It's
Right?
like this.
You can't come out and get a corporate job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I changed my life, like I was working at a water hose place, messing with the water hose, but I knew I needed to do something to survive, right? And I knew I had 5 pending charges. I knew I couldn't go back to the game, the dope game. So I had to start off at the low, right? And so it was like, and I was able to work myself up because I knew that's how you do it, even in the game. You start off with the nickel bag, then you move in pounds. So I had that same mentality even in the workforce.
So don't expect to get to the big stuff.
You can't expect to get, $45 an hour. You got to start off low and work yourself up. It's going back to being humble. You know what I'm saying? Being content. Like, you know what? I'm at this restaurant job. I'm gonna be grateful. Because I was just, people in prison, you making what, $50 a month.
Working 200 hours.
You can't even send money to your family.
You mopping the floor out here. You better be the best mopper around there.
So that's what I'm saying. Even coming out, like, if we got to settle with a low paying job, it is what it is. And so
to me, I always look at it as that's not your final destination.
Yeah.
Where you're at right there.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to making choices while you're in there.
Yeah.
I remember when I barely went in there, I was a little bitter. I was upset, or how it all went down, and how at the last I was the last one to be convicted, and how everything rose because of that.
Yeah.
And I remember this Jamaican brother, man, Jamrock. He out of Jamaica.
That was his name?
That was his name, man. I was already about a year and a half in, man. This brother, he's an older gentleman. He's a good Christian brother of mine, man. He's like, the way Jamaicans talk, he was telling me, hey, get out that cell. Yeah, hey, man, get out that cell, man. So he's like, you need a career. And I'm like 29 years old, you know what I mean? It's like, man, I ain't finna go to school in here and all this. Like, man, he pushed me. He pushed me.
How'd he say it?
Man. Huh?
How'd he say it? Hey, man.
Hey, man, But, man, he pushed me, man. He's like, I work in HVAC. Go to HVAC. And this was in Beaumont. He's like, come on.
So that's where it started.
That's where it started. He pushed me and he pushed me. Finally, like, man, I go.
What's his name? Jamrock. What's his last name?
I don't even remember.
Shout out to Jamrock.
Yeah, Jamrock out of Jamaica. Man, he had a testimony, crazy testimony.
What was he locked up for?
Drugs too as well. But man,
he was from Texas?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
he was from Jamaica.
Yeah, he's from Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? But
so he must have been pushing from Jamaica to Beaumont.
Yeah, but he had a testimony, big testimony. But anyways, he older gentleman, and he just pushed me, and finally, I went into HVAC, and for a whole year, I just sat there, just worked out, just lift weights inside the shop. Didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And finally, it's like one of my boss says, "You're gonna do something today." I was getting paid like $5 a month just to sit there and just do nothing really, but clean up the shop. $5 a month.
Yeah.
And finally, one day I went out there. I went with the rest of the crews, like 15 guys that go out, and they're trying to learn something.
Yeah.
Man, I went out there, and man, I liked it. Before you know, we started going into the kitchen, working on the freezers, ice machines, the ACs. Before you know it, I started going with them every day. Then I barely got my GED. And And then all of a sudden, I went to get my apprentice. I was an apprentice in there.
Mm.
Got my time on the apprentice and working with them. Before you know it, I was the number one as far as the shop leader
Yeah.
inside there.
So going back to like being starting off small,
Hmm
then working your way up.
Oh yeah,
And you
it's
did
a
that in,
sacrifice.
and you did that in the prison system.
Oh,
And
everywhere I
then
went.
when you came out, you had more experience than a lot of these HVAC guys out here, but you started off as the helper.
Yeah,
And then now you own the HVAC business.
yeah.
You know, so it's like start off small.
I think, but also it took. There's a proverb that says, "Accept discipline and listen to advice. In the end, you will be counted among the wise."
Ooh.
It took you listening to that advice.
Yeah, definitely.
It took you listening and accepting discipline. Like anybody could have just been in that bunk and said, "Man, I'm done. I got."
Oh, there's a lot of kinds of negativity that goes
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Cuddy, man, why you even working for these people, man? You ain't getting paid for nothing. You working for free as a slave, man.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you'll have all these guys to tell you, man, you slaving, man.
Yeah.
You working for free. I said, look, you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Mm.
I got a future ahead of me now.
Yeah.
You know, so God started giving me wisdom on how to think differently already.
Yeah.
Get out of the way I felt and then my feelings about it and do something about it.
And what's crazy is that like a man, you know, with a 20-year sentence, like thinking about a future.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Because out here we're
That's
like,
deep.
even in the free world, it's like, man, my life is messed up right now. We don't even want to think about the future. But you got this man here that was doing a 20-year sentence, and you got a Jamaican dude coming to you saying, hey, you need to start working on your career. Like, can you imagine how he's feeling? Like, man, I got 20 years on my case.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like, man, I got a long ways to go. I said, no, you don't.
Mm.
No, you don't. So push me.
I like what you used to tell me, Dad, back in my younger years. You say you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So at that moment, at that time, you were sowing. You
You
were sowing. You were
Mhm.
building up, even though you didn't see it.
Yeah.
But you're sowing, and now you're reaping it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
that's crazy.
So no matter where you're at in life, no matter what situation you're in or how much time you're facing, like continue to sow those good seeds.
Those good seeds, those
Yeah.
relational seeds,
relational
those
seeds.
business seeds, those career seeds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your faith seeds, like start planning now, no matter what circumstance you're in,
Mm-hmm.
because you were planting those seeds in a cell,
Yeah.
bloody Beaumont.
Yeah.
You
So
know
what
what
I
I'm
could
saying?
see, at that time when he was telling me this, all I could see was bad seeds that I planted in my past. Those trees were huge.
Yeah,
All I could see is those ugly trees, man.
Yeah.
And before you know it, exactly how you say is just you just started planting, and over the years, I still see those trees, but now they're less because now these other trees are starting to grow, and God's starting to water that and starting to give a little bit of fruit. Man, I used to work 200 hours in the BOP a month,
200 hours a month.
200 hours a month. So break that down
That's
weekly.
50 a week.
50 a week
And what was your
to
check
get
a month?
$70 a month. $70 a month.
Ben, what's 200 divided by 70?
How you do that math? You did that math in your head?
200 divided by 77.
You did the 200 a month. I
200.
mean, yeah, you did the 200 hours. You divided that within that in your head.
Yeah, I can't think right now. But yeah, you get it though.
No, well, I mean, yeah,
That's sense. That's sense.
that is sense.
So
2.85. 2.85 cents an hour.
yeah, working at it, working hard at it.
That's crazy.
And hold on. And then you were still tithing to the church too at that time too, right?
Oh yeah, because we still had the church.
So you're 10%.
Still 10%.
$7. So $7. So $7 a lot in there
$7.
Yeah.
It'll get you a spread.
to get you a spread.
Yeah, it gets you spreads.
So, but that's crazy though, man. Just like planting those seeds, and even in a messed up situation,
You have
You
to,
know.
man. You have to.
you know,
You know, I know a lot.
Let's give you a handshake, man. That's
that's deep.
That's good. That's good, man.
yeah.
You know,
So
I just wanted something different. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I want to see a future no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what. And try to be example for others. You know, same way that somebody, Jamrock, came to me and told me that, now I'm feeding the same thing to these youngsters coming back inside the prison system.
yeah,
You know, they want to do this and they want to do that. And it's like, nah, let me holler at you real quick, man.
yeah,
Let me talk to you. Somebody spit some good game to me a long time ago, which
Yeah.
I already knew about other things, but while you in there, you don't think that way no more. All you think is bitter and mad at the world or or just it is what it is. Some people can say it is what it is. You know, I did this to myself. Yeah, that's cool, but you got to make the best of it now.
Yeah.
And there's decisions to make. You can go and keep on doing what you were doing out there in the world, or you can start changing your life and start doing
So
things different.
what do you mean doing what you were doing in the world? So you can do crazy stuff in prison?
Oh yeah, all kinds of crazy
Like
stuff.
what?
Man, all kinds of crazy stuff. Let's just say that. You know what I mean?
I
It's
mean, we
just,
can go in it. I mean, it's already out there.
yeah.
Doing drugs.
Social media. You can see what everything happens on social media.
So people doing drugs in there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
People drinking in there.
Oh yeah. All that
You
can
know,
happen in
yeah.
there. You know, you still nothing has changed basically. You can keep
Yeah,
on going. You can be all sorry. You can sit there and say, "Man, we got fooled, we got drunk, we got high, whatever," and they feel like they're having a happy life, but deep inside, they're doing it to get their sorrows out
Yeah.
or whatever. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
change. They don't want to feel that pain that they're going
Yeah.
through. So
So
what do we do?
so
Now, I
going.
don't speak for everybody else. I
Yeah.
just speak on people that I talk to.
Yeah.
And there's like in reality, I ain't happy, but
Yeah.
I do this for this.
Yeah.
And
So going back to getting out and how you feel, you know, and that's just, you know, crazy. Like it was crazy for us, you know, like our dad coming out, you know. How did you feel,
I was
bro?
about to ask y'all.
Like we can get deep with this stuff, like because I was excited, like I was crunk because you know I've been waiting on this. When Dad got locked up, I was 13, and it's like, man, he's finally home. You know?
Do you remember the time before I got locked up? I told you, I said I took you for a ride. I said, son,
Yeah, I
you're
did
gonna
a
have to be
video
the
on
man.
that. Yeah,
You're
you
gonna
took
have
me
to
on
be
the
the
ride,
man of the house now.
Yeah.
No matter what, I'm gonna be gone for a very long time.
and I didn't even know what that. I didn't even get that conversation until I became a man. To be honest with you, at that time I was 13. Like, what does that even mean? You know? And so I was crunk. I was excited. How did you feel?
Man, to be honest with you, I fell into a deep depression. I felt really sad, and I know that's not what you're expecting. But we didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gone 15 years. All I know you is from inside the federal penitentiary.
How old were you when he got locked up?
I was 10 years old, and I was 25 when you got out. And like I was scared because now you got our hopes up. When you get out, will things change? Will you leave? Will you leave again? Or you know, are you gonna back out? You know, are you not gonna keep? Because we know you from a phone call, we know you from letters, but we don't really know who you are. And so I was kind of hesitant, and and if you got somebody locked up, your dad's locked up, your mom's locked up. I'm grateful for my brother Doug Lee. Shout out to Doug Lee and Jason Ramos. They walk with me as a man. They like you need like
People, mentorship.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's deep, man. Like even hearing that perspective, because people just think it's all, you know, the pain is gone and you know, that we're all crunk and excited through pictures and videos and but in reality, that's not the case. You know, and there's a lot of baggage still that we have to deal with because there was a lot of hurt done.
Yeah.
A lot of hurt done, man, and you know, so I you know, that's just a deep conversation, man, because there's people out there going through it, you know, in that situation. Like, what do you do now when you get out?
Yeah.
Because it's not just out. There's a lot of pressure on you,
Yeah.
you know, and so just knowing that feeling.
It was really, that's one of my biggest things that I talked to other guys while I was in there. It's like before they even left. So now it was my turn to feel that.
Yeah.
I used to always say, hey, remember, you're going back into their life. They're not coming into yours. So I always thought about that. It's like you have to think, don't think that you can run things like a father because you have not been that father.
Yeah.
Don't think that you can go in there and start making rules and regulations and make them want to do things that you want them to do when you haven't even been there to pay any bills or been through the suffering,
Yeah.
or they didn't know that you don't know what they went through only by what you heard.
Yeah.
So if you think you're gonna be this father, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
So now it was my turn to eat what I was speaking of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to come out, be very cautious, man, because I knew that there was so much pain and hurt that
Yeah.
I've caused y'all
Yeah.
that it's like,
Well,
man,
I mean, if we want to, yeah, I mean, I think it was the first day or the second day, you got cussed out.
mhm,
You got cussed out by a family member behind some old baggage,
mhm,
and me, I'm taking all in because of me. You know, Adrian, you were hurt because you didn't know Dad before he was locked up.
Yeah.
I knew Dad. I remember. I was, 13. I was a teenager, and so I'm excited. I know you're a changed man. Like, I know the change because I remember you back then. I remember who you were. I was scared of you, right? Like, I knew you were the guy that everybody looked up to. You were the big drug dealer. You were, all this and that. And so I knew the real you. I remember everything. And then in prison, you were locked up. I noticed the change. And I was like, man, this man's for real change. People, I know my dad. Him even smiling or praying, like, that was deep. And so me, I was excited, man. And so when people, I didn't get the baggage that people are still dealing with. Like, the second day you getting cussed out. Like, man, my dad's a different person. He's changed. And so even me, myself, I had to process that, like, man, why is everybody tripping for? But even just going back to looking at, man, there's baggage.
mhm, yeah.
Crazy.
I felt it from all kinds of family members. I
Yeah.
felt it, and I know all eyes are on me 24 hours. It's like
Yeah.
any moment he's gonna go back, or any
Yeah.
moment he's gonna be that same old person I used to be, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So at first, I felt like I was walking on eggshells when I got out.
Yeah.
It's like, man, everybody looks at me different. Everybody looks at me as at the end.
And which I felt bad. I felt bad because it's like, man, you did all this time, and for you to come out and still be walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
Because in prison, you're walking on eggshells, right?
Mhm,
And so it's like, man, I felt bad, but it's like, these are the consequences.
mhm,
Like, still paying for your consequences today as we speak
mhm,
because of the stuff that
mhm.
happened
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Because family members to say is like, I hear this because we don't know you, just like you say.
Yeah.
But now you're out here. I said, and I'm a big believer is people respect you not for what you say, but
Yeah.
what you do.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah.
People respect you not for what you say, because you can have this all day. You can have that mouthpiece.
Yeah.
You can speak all these things that you're going to do while you're on that phone, but not until
Yeah.
you hit that ground, your 2 feet hit that ground. This difference though.
Yeah, for sure.
What you gonna do? What you say now?
Yeah.
You know,
So
that
no.
was that was the difference.
Yeah.
So
no, that's deep, man, and we're gonna get into deeper discussions, man. But yeah, I think we nailed on a lot of good stuff, man, today. Yeah, just getting out.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. 3 years ago, man, and there's a lot of great stuff that has happened since then.
just a lot of healing.
We're gonna
lot of
a
healing.
lot of healing, and healing still going on, and we'll get into that later on, man. But
And all that
But
to
yeah.
say that there's hope.
there's
Oh,
hope.
heck
There's
yeah.
always hope.
There's hope,
Thank-
even in the craziest situations. You know what I'm saying? And so, but
Without
that's
none of this would be possible without Christ,
yeah,
because we lived in a toxic and dysfunctional family.
yeah, oh yeah,
The dysfunctional was out of this world,
yeah.
but what the devil meant for bad, God would always turn into good,
Mm.
as long as we allowed him to come in.
And in all things,
And this is the result.
and in all things,
Hmm.
God works things God works things out for the good of those who love Him. And so that's what's so dope, man. But we'll get back into the more discussions for the next episode. I think we did enough today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Most
that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, we out.